Hey guys, Tad here from Attack of the Killer Podcast with another video update. It's been a while. Haven't seen my Patreon supporters in quite a while because I've been feverishly working on my film festival that ended in late June. So I'm back on the podcast and back with video updates. In the meantime, Mike, Brian, and Jason have all been posting videos for you to feast your eyes upon. You might have seen me briefly in the video from my film festival, the Snake Alley Festival film, because Jason and Mike had a film in the festival and they were there for a lot of it, so we sort of did a quick video, but I don't need to tell you about a video you might have already watched. Anyways, I wanted to get back into video updates, and excuse me for my voice. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not feeling great tonight. I'm sort of coming down with a cold, but I really wanted to jump back in and get another video update for you guys because I miss you. And just want to say thanks again for supporting our Patreon page. It means a lot. Since the last time we talked, the Prescribed Films Podcast Network has been started. We have a bunch of new great podcasts on our network. Yeah, go check them out. I mean, I can't really say much more than that. Just go watch or go listen to as many of them as you can because there's some really great content on there, and we're adding more and more and more. And it's fantastic. So in the meantime, I was trying to think of something really cool to review, and I was racking my brain thinking I haven't really got anything new or that you haven't seen already. And then I remembered that I was gifted something at the film festival that you guys might find interesting, and it's a very old book. It's called The Movie Treasury: Horror Movies by Alan G. Franks, Tales of Terror in the Cinema. And this is a really cool cover. And a friend of mine, Paul, thank you, Paul, approached me at the film festival and said, hey, my friend was moving. He had this, or he or she, I don't remember, had this book and thought he might be interested. And he's a horror guy, but he's not as big of a horror guy as I am. So he generously asked if I wanted it, and I couldn't have taken it out of his hands quicker. This book is in great shape. It was made by Octopus Books and published in 1974. So you can imagine it's a lot of really cool old horror movie stuff. Love the back cover. You know who that is. Front cover. There's some really cool stuff, but this is in great shape for being from the 70s. And love the spread on the inside. It's hard to sort of see. Oh, but there we go. And it sort of talks about a little bit about everything in horror, but surprisingly a lot of this has the Hammer horror in it. And a lot of obviously it's made in 74, so it's going to have a lot of old stuff, but, just how cool is that when you open it up, there's Dracula horror movies, and then love this spread too, the Movie Treasury horror movies. Look at that. That's so cool. And it's in great shape. Can't ask for much more. I was geeking out over this. I couldn't wait for the film festival to end so I could sit down and just look through this thing, but it goes by chapters. It has zombies, the Count, the Baron, metamorphoses and masquerades, meet the ladies, madmen, demented doctors, and psychopath scientists, all creatures great and small, acknowledgments, and then the index. So this is a really cool book. I'm not going to go page by page or anything, but just has not only some great photos you might not have seen before, but just some cool information. And it's not just black and white. As you get further in the book, I find some really great old photos from the old Hammer horror films that you might not have seen, because I'm not an expert in the Hammer horror world at all. Just about everybody on the podcast probably knows more about it than I do, but I can read this book and find out more about it. It also covers the classics, so we have Frankenstein's monster, and it's sort of the Baron. It talks about the history of the monsters, not just who played them and about the movies, because everybody sort of knows that stuff. It's about their place in history and how fear plays its role in film and that kind of thing. And talks a little bit about film theory and stuff. And this is probably a really boring video because you can't see the book. But just goes. There's so much in there that talks about the different iterations of Frankenstein. There's Christopher Lee in The Curse of Frankenstein from Hammer 1957. Such a cool rendition of the character. And it goes chapter by chapter. It covers, up to 1974, it covers a little bit of everything. yeah, there's the horror of Frankenstein from Hammer in 1970. Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed in 1969. They have a little bit of everything, and then, you know, of course, it goes on to the Count and talks about the many iterations of Dracula. And obviously, there's a ton of versions, and we love them all. But this book is just cool because it just has that feeling. It has the old dust jacket. The colors are muted. A lot of the book, I mean, they even have Blackula. But this book is just, I mean, there's something about holding an old book that, you know, has some history to it. Someone loved this book at one time and probably passed it on to someone who passed it on to somebody. It's like the history in these pages. Oh, it's so cool. Like, check out this old poster for Vampire Circus. That's really cool. I could just flip through this all day. And there's another Blackula. Looks like behind the scenes photo. It's just, who, you know, I always wonder the history of this type of thing. Where'd this come from? Excuse me. And how it ended up in my hands, I don't know. But we got some old zombies. That looks really cool. But the cool thing about it is that, like I said, it's from 1974. So you're not getting anything really modern at all. You're talking really, I mean, not really old school, because it's like, you know, it's not 74. I don't know. I'm big in the late 70s, early 80s horror, but I also love the classics too. So they cover everything, and this book is just really cool. Retro. Here's a little bit about the ladies of horror. Even in the 70s, they're a little progressive and included the ladies. But yeah, there's some really gorgeous full color pictures in this book. This one's from Nazis on Ice. Or it's rather, the photo is called Nazis on Ice, from the Frozen Dead. Some cool old black and white photos. Check, there's one from The Fly. The original Fly with Vincent Price down there in the corner. That's a cool shot. And, you know, obviously I'm just skimming through the page and showing you old photos that you probably don't really care about. But, you know, to me, I'm like nerding out, and I hope you guys get that, you know, why I'm nerding out, because I feel like if anybody would get why I'd get so excited about a stupid old dirty book, it would be you guys. If you listen to our podcast, I think you can sit through a, you know, 8-minute video of me talking about a book. But if you ever find something like this at like a garage sale or an estate sale or a library sale or anything, get it, because it's awesome. There's so much cool stuff in here. I want to dig deeper and deeper, but yeah. Here's the back spread. It's gorgeous too. Back flap is really cool. Talks about how they have one about Western gangsters and thrillers, which will please Mike because he just loves thrillers. So yeah, this is what I'm going to review today. Just sort of showing you this cool book I picked up from a friend. Thank you again, Paul. Thank you guys for supporting the podcast, supporting watching these videos, doing, you know, supporting everything that we do. We have some cool stuff coming up on the horizon, and we're thankful that we can keep doing stuff because you're watching these videos, you're giving us your hard-earned money, and we appreciate all your support. So please tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your sister, tell them to go listen to Attack of the Killer podcast, because we're the best and we love you guys. Thanks. See you next time.